Imagine a place where, for a few precious days each year, the sun never sets, bathing the world in eternal daylight. On the flip side, when winter solstice arrives, the sun retreats entirely, plunging the land into a long, mysterious night. This enchanting phenomenon is witnessed in the Arctic Circle. As winter approaches, the sun says a temporary farewell, hiding below the horizon for a staggering 20 days. But, come summer solstice, the tables turn, and the sun refuses to set, hovering in the sky for another 20 days of relentless brilliance. So, if you ever find yourself yearning for an adventure where the sun disappears within the horizon, set your sights on the Arctic Circle. And while you are there, make sure to check out the two most well-known football clubs of the region, Tromsø and Bodo Glimt. At the turn of the century, Tromsø was the one to celebrate 16 years in Norway's top division. The first season in the top division would be very hard for Tromsø. The club eventually had to play qualification to survive. An experiment in the 1987 season proved valuable to Tromsø. Tied matches would be decided on penalty shootouts, awarding 3 points for a win, 2 for a shootout win, 1 for a shootout loss, and 0 for a loss. Sounds familiar? Thanks to Bjarte Flem's exceptional penalty saves, Tromsø won 7 out of 9 shootouts that year. The experiment was dropped after that season, however, the system with 3 points for a victory was kept. The 1989 and 1990 seasons would become the two most successful top division seasons to date, with Tromsø winning a bronze and a silver medal, respectively. The club's coach during this time, Tommy Svensson, will eventually coach the Sweden national team to a bronze medal in the 1994 FIFA World Cup. Bodo started football late, in 1916, while other towns in Nordland County, like Narvik, Mo i Rana, and Mosjøen, had started their football clubs already. In 1919, Glimt won their first title, County Champions of Nordland. The club changed its name in 1948 due to an older club from Trøndelag having the same name, and has since gone by the name Fotballklubben Bodo Glimt. The slash was originally a hyphen, but was gradually changed in the 1980s to avoid confusion, as hyphens were often used to separate teams on betting coupons and in result tables in newspapers. Teams from northern Norway were not allowed to compete in the Norwegian Cup competition until 1963. In their first appearance in the Norwegian FA Cup in 1963, Bodo Glimt managed to get as far as the fourth round after a home win 7-1 over Nordil and 2 away wins. It wasn't until 1972 that northern teams had the right to gain promotion to the Norwegian top division. This was due to the old belief that the teams from Nordland, Troms and Finnmark could not compete at the same level as the southern teams. From 1973, Norway had 3 second divisions, 2 divisions for the southern teams and 1 for the northern teams. Bodo Glimt took 3 years to gain promotion due to the promotion rules. The first place holders in the 2 southern divisions gained instant promotion, but the first place holder in the northern second division had to compete in playoff matches against the 2 second place holders from the south. After a glorious top division debut in 1977, second place in the league and the cup, both against Lillestrøm, Bodo Glimt played 4 seasons at the top level before relegation in 1980, finishing last at 12th place. The 1980s were the darkest times in the club's history, with Bodo Glimt playing in the second division and the regional third division. For a couple of years in the mid-1980s, they weren't even the best team in Bodo, with rivals Grand Bodo surpassing them in the standings. But the tide turned in 1991. With manager Jan Muri in charge, Bodo Glimt was promoted to the first division. The following season, they hired Trond Solid as manager, and the team won the first division in the 1992 season. At last, in 1993, Bodo Glimt was back to the top division, and as in the debut season of 1977, they finished second in the league. This time, they also managed to win the cup final, a 2-0 win over Strømsgodset. The cup championship achievement was the crowning of 3 remarkable seasons, going from the second division to second place in the top division in only 3 years, an achievement rarely seen in the Norwegian league system. However, if we fast forward, in the 2005 season, Bodo Glimt was relegated. Following a series of back and forth between Norway's 2 best football divisions, Bodo Glimt finally settled in the first division. Ahead of the 2019 season, Bodo Glimt was mentioned among the relegation candidates by most pundits, especially since the club has sold key players like captain Martin Bjørnbakk and top scorer Christian Fardal Opseth. Bodo Glimt surprised everyone and clinched the second place in the Norwegian Eliteserien. and enter stage Kjetil Knutsen. In the 2020 season, even though the club sold several good players, Kjetil Knutsen managed to guide the team to their first ever league title. They won 26 games and scored 103 goals in the 30 games campaign. Also, they became the first Northern Norway club to win the Norwegian First Division. Ahead of the 2021 season, Bodø Glimt had sold their three frontmen, Philip Zinkernagel, Jens Petter Hauge and Kasper Junker. These three players scored altogether 60 goals and provided 35 assists the previous season, and Bodø Glimt had not brought in clear replacements for the players. The pundits were again skeptical to their chances, but again the team surprised everyone, as they were crowned back-to-back league champions after a 3-0 victory at Mjøndalen in the last match of the season. Out of the last 5 seasons, Bodø Glimt won 4 first league titles and finished second place in 2022. Slowly but surely, the Northern Norway club were making strides in European competitions as well. Thus, we arrive to the club's most important achievement in football ever, the first Norwegian team to ever qualify to a European competition semi-final stage. From not being allowed to play in the top division as they were considered to be unfit for the league level, to becoming Norway's most well-known football club in recent times. I haven't watched other games of Bodø Glimt than the ones against Lazio Roma this season, but these 2 games made me root for the Norwegian club like they were my all-time favorites. The first leg, played in the scenic stadium of Bodø Glimt, saw Lazio being dominated and possibly feeling lucky they got away with only a 2-0 defeat. In Rome, the story was different, but only because Andres Helmersen decided to miss an incredible chance. Lazio put in a fight and the game was pushed to penalties. 3 penalties saved later, Bodø Glimt emerged victorious over the 2 legs, defeating the Italian club in their own backyard. As tactics, I noticed Bodø Glimt set up in a 4-3-3 formation. Our hero, Nikita Haikin, does not seem to go out of his way to pick up the loose balls, but I chose a sweeper keeper on defend duty as he offers a passing option at times. For the back 4, I chose 2 wingbacks on support duty and 2 central defenders on defend. The wingbacks are expected to go up the pitch as the ball is progressed. The defensive midfielder is a defensive midfielder on defend. An anchor or a halfback could also be used here. But I felt like the defensive midfielder role emulated better how Patrick Berg played in recent games, plus it seems to fit his attributes better. The center midfielders are a box-to-box midfielder on support and a central midfielder on support. Make sure to check the center midfielder role and add player instructions if you need the player chosen here to play in a different way, as the base role comes without any player instructions. I asked the player here to get further forward and take more risks, as I want him to be as aggressive as possible off the ball and come up in the attack when possible, and on the ball to try and find the best possible pass forward. And the 3 attacking players are a winger on support on the right side, an inverted winger on the left side, and a pressing forward on attack up front. I tried to keep the formation as balanced as possible, but to make it dominant in the same time. No other player instructions were used. We mainly rely on the player traits and their roles instructions. I chose positive as mentality. In possession, fairly wide attacking width and play out of defense, shorter passing diagonals and a slightly higher tempo, and play for set pieces. In transition, counter-press, although I did not notice this style of pressing being employed often by the team. It's only that in the game, the pressing is done better if this option is ticked on. Counter and distribute the ball to whichever player or position the goalkeeper chooses to. And out of possession, a mid-block and a standard defensive line. I noticed that whenever the pressing was not possible within the first seconds after losing the ball, Bodø Glimt retreated in their base formation, trying to meet the opposition at the halfway line. With the standard defensive line, at least in the game, this restricts the space the opposition can use to attack our team, and trigger press more often. I only simulated 1 season using this tactic and the team won the league title. Not in a dominant way, they switched places with Molde throughout the season. In other competitions, the team lost in the cup final on penalties to Rosenborg and were knocked out of the UEFA Champions League phase. All in all, the tactic seems worthy of this team's achievements. I did not know much about Bodø Glimt before researching the video. What they managed to do in Norwegian football after what they had to overcome is extraordinary. I'm glad that there are teams like this one that keep believing and creating real underdog stories. It feels like Bodø Glimt and Kjetil Knutsen play football manager in real life.